Hello there and welcome to Tom's Warhammer Minis. The red Gobbo is a true festive symbol of Orc Revolution in the 40k universe, and this year's model is exceptional and very unique with that classic style of wind-up toy robot straight out of the Mech Boy workshop. Now, whether this model is part of your own collection that you just want, whether it's to get those first stamps for that exclusive dice tower in your local Warhammer store, or whether you are entering a festive painting competition, then look no further, I've got you covered. In this video, I'll be showing you how to achieve the box art colours using contrast paints as well as the metallics. There are a lot of paints that I've used in this tutorial, and in fairness, that's because the model is exquisite in detail. But whether it's because you need guidance for a colour, whether you want it battle ready or parade ready, then this is the video for you. So grab your paints, grab your brushes, let's get hot. And we're getting started with our 2025 Red Gobbo. He's a fantastic festive model. Now, to begin with, to note, he is fully assembled and I have primed the model in White Scar completely. Now, to begin with, we're going to focus on the metallic details and we kind of need to get an underlayer. So this is going to be for all the baubles, all the little lights. So you've got the eyes. You've got the eyes on the red Gobbo, you've got the bauble there on his ear, you've got these little metallic strips here that are in green on the box art, and then you've got all this sort of burgundy red, the armour that we see on the tin robot. Nice and simple, we need an underlayer. The colour we're going for is Stormhost Silver. This is the brightest silver that Citadel does, and essentially it's going to make a real nice, bright, shiny metallic colour in the next step when we add the contrast paints. So take your time, just look at the box art. What has got metallic details that isn't going to be done in silver. We're not focusing on the bronze yet or any gold kind of colours. We'll do that later on. This is just the silver. It's a bit probably hard to see on the camera. Just take your time. Just pick out each bit that was red, green, all the lights, all the baubles, the eyepieces, etc. Next up, we're focusing on all of that beautiful red armour on the actual tin robot. It is nice and simple. Now, when you look at the box art, it's got a slight burgundy pinkish hue to the red. And we can achieve this just ever so subtly. In a sense, it is red. But when you look at it, and the camera doesn't really do it justice here, but you'll see it more when you actually look at it. It just enhances the red ever so slightly by adding a pink contrast paint to the red. The mix we're going to go for here is going to be Flesh Tearers Red. We're going to take one part of this into the palette. We're going to mix it with one part of the Lupus Pink. It's not too strong, but it works really nicely with a red, and this is the effect we're going to get. But we're painting it on large flat areas, and we don't want it too strong, because Flesh Tearers Red is a very strong paint. So we're going to take Lamy Medium and add this to the mix. So it's essentially going to be a 1:1:1 ratio. Now, when I made the mix, I did a 2:2:2, because I didn't know how much I'd need, and I wanted to keep it nice and moist. But essentially, it's only a small area. It's 1:1:1 that you need. So take your time, paint that on. The Lamy Medium will thin it down. It will make it look nice and flat, in the sense, as well as matte. We're going to give it a shine in the buff later on, but it just locks that colour in place. And again, the Lamy Medium thins it down, but when you've got these large flat areas, it just keeps it nice and smooth, obviously letting it settle into the natural recesses that are part of the model. Now, moving on from that, we are taking Flesh Tearers Red. This is not thinned down now. This is in its purest form. You've got the two lights up here if you're copying the box art. Nice and simple. Next up, we're going to paint the green details and the orange details for our metallics. So to begin with, let's start with the green. Nice and simple. We're going to take Warp Lightning, and I have thinned this down with Lamy Medium in a 1:1 mix. This is over all the green metallic details, so nice and simple. Go for it quick. The eye, the bauble here, both leg joints, you can see there, and you've got the bauble down here. Nice and simple. Now what I have done, paint it on, let it dry, and I added a second there. That's down to you how green you want it, but this is the kind of effect that I wanted, and that's done and out of the way. Next off, we're going for the orange details. Now this one is a bit different. We're going to take Magma Droth Flame. This is a very strong, very vivid colour. Take one part of Magma Droth Flame, and this time I thinned it down with two parts of Lamy Medium. Now, the details here, you've got the eye up here. I've only done one coat on this one. You've got the light down here on the tree. Again, I've only done one coat on this one. And then you've got the flame of the dynamite. Now, we are going to darken it down. We're going to make it more grey and black later on, but essentially this is an underlayer colour. We see the heat that burns through, and this is a really nice effect colour that we want underneath. So I'll just paint it straight over. There's no metallic details underneath this one. This was pure white scar, and you can see the difference of how it works on both types of details. So get that done, we'll move on to the next colour. Next up, we've got a whole host of more colours to do. So let's focus on more of those metallic details to begin with. First of all, we've got two baubles. We've got this one here, we've got this one on the tree, and they are in pink. So the colour we're using here is Doomfire Magenta. It is very bright, it is very vivid, it needs thinning down for this effect. We are talking a 2-to-1 mix, 1 part Doomfire Magenta, 2 parts Lamy Medium. Essentially, in one coat, this is the strength of the colour you're going to get, and that's absolutely perfect for matching the kind of box art style. Moving on from that, we're going to focus on the blue metallic details. Now, the colour is Frostheart. To begin with, we're taking it in its purest form and putting it on the eyes, and the reason for this, if you thin it down, it's just going to separate too much into the recesses and just make the model messy. We don't want that. We want its purest form where we've got actual more control here, but we are thinning it down 1-to-1 with Lamy Medium just to paint over the eyepiece, or the lens here should I say. Let it dry, add another coat of this 1-to-1 mix just for this kind of effect. It gives us more control rather than losing control. Moving on from that, we're finishing off the ball, and that's the one at the back here. Nice and simple, it is gold, and we're just base coating it in Retributor armor. Once we've done that, we can move on to other details that need to dry, and we can focus on the ribbon around the dynamite. Now the colour I've used here is a mix, a 1-to-1 with Blood Angels Red in a palette and Volupus Pink mixed together. It's going to look quite pink when you apply it, and it's going to look quite off and wrong. Trust the process, this is how it dries. It's not red enough for me. I'm going to add a shade paint, which enriches the contrast paints regardless, but we'll talk about that in the next step. Next up, we're going to do a bit more base coating and adding some shade paints, as well as some air paints, just to enhance those details we've already done. So let's start with some base coating. First of all, we're going to take Black Templar. Now, you've got this central column here, it's like a rope, goes round the outer edge, like you can see there, both sides. Now, this was base coated in Stormhost Silver. That's what the intention was. You kind of want that metallic colour underneath. Just put the Black Templar straight over. On the back, on top of the gun, you've got what's kind of a Christmas light cable going all the way around, which is attached up to the lights here. Nice and simple, Black Templar, base coating over that. There's no underlayer, there's no Stormhost Silver. This was a pure white scar. Obviously, you've got both sides to that. Moving on from that, we're going to enhance the details we've already done with some shades. So, for all of our metallic green, I've taken Beltan green. Give it a good shake. It can be quite glossy, but if it does dry glossy, kind of works the effect that we want, because we're going to be doing a lot of hard coats later on. Moving on from that, we're going to take Tyrant blue. And this is going to be for all the little Frostheart details we did, so just the eyes and the lens at the top. Moving on from that, I've taken Berserker Bloodshade. Now, this is not for the metallic details, this is for the ribbon that we did around the dynamite. Just gives it a bit more saturation and depth into the colour we've added, just makes it pop a little bit better. Moving on to the next paint, they're going to be air paints, but we're applying them by hand on a paintbrush. So the first one is Angron Red Clear. This is going to be for the two lights on the top of the gun. The second colour I'm using is Pyroclast Orange Clear. And this is going to be for all of our orange metallic lights, not the flame. You've got the eye up here, and you've got the little lights down on the tree there. Now, airbrush paints are a bit different when you apply them by hand. They take a lot longer to dry, and they will be glossy when they finish. But, again, metallic details, we want the gloss kind of finish. Just be aware, as I say, it takes a long time to dry. In a sense, double the time of normal paints. You don't want to catch them and make them all messy. So get that done and we'll move on to the next step. Next up, we're going to focus on the base. Now, when you look at the box art, it's kind of grey. They've kept it very snow-esque. But we've got to think of the actual overall colour scheme of the model. There's a lot of red, a lot of warm, bright Christmas details. So actually a colder base finish for the snow works really well in contrasting the colour against that red. The colour I'm going to use here is Pilar Glacier. Now this is a very transparent blue, but we're going to thin it down quite heavily because we want the snow to really shine through, in a sense that white colour. So I've taken 4 parts of Lamy Medium, 1 part of Pilar Glacier, mix it together in the palette, just paint it straight over, and this is the effect you'll see. Just let it pull into the recesses, like the footprint there, so you'll get that nice cold blue finish, and over the white where it is actually textured, the snow, it'll just have nice little subtle recess shading, but the white remains. And all we'll have to do at the end is just give it a little cheeky dry brush, and the base is done. Next up, we're base coating the 2 brown details, our hat up here and the sack here. They are 2 different colours. So let's start with the hat on top. We are going to use a shade paint, but we're going to treat it like a base paint in the sense of contrast painting. So over that white scar, taking Seraphim Sepia with just a small airbrush, you can easily achieve a nice flat colour. There's no need to thin it down. Nice and simple, let it settle into the recesses, don't let it pull heavily elsewhere. Moving on from that, focusing on the sack, I have gone with a contrast paint here, and the colour I've used is Skeleton Horde, but obviously drying times are an issue, so we are thinning it down with Lamy Medium. It is a 1-to-1 mix, using a slightly bigger brush just to get over the area nice and quickly. It gives a nice flat colour, so 1-to-1 with Lamy Medium, just paint it all over, obviously not forgetting the inside. We have got the little grot in there and the grenades to do, we'll cover that later on. Next up, we're base coating the red cloth of the red Gobbo, and we're going to start focusing on the star. Let's do the red cloth to begin with. The colour is Bile Red. We're not thinning this down, it's in its purest form, and it's important we do it now. Now, the reason is, this area, we've not base coated yet, it is going to be metallic details. You're going to mess it up. It needs to be done now. We can get the brush in, it's easy to do. You can easily get a small airbrush into that area. I've done it myself. Obviously, here's the proof. You can easily slide the brush in here. But like you can see, these areas you're going to end up catching by accident. It's inevitable. Every painter is going to do it, especially this area here. So get it done now. Take your time. Get it base coated. And it means we can just afford to be messy now. Clean it up later. Because with metallics, you've got to base coat them anyway. Focusing on the star. Nice and simple. Just a rough outline sketch. We're going to take Imperial Fist. Now, we're not painting the whole of the star. Essentially, what we're going to do is a rough recess shade. And when I say rough, it's not 100% perfect. It doesn't have to be. And we'll cover that more in the next stage. But follow the box art for guidance. Essentially, just going around the outer edges of all the star. And this central bit here at the bottom, we're just going with that there. Get that done, let it dry, we'll move on to the next stage. Next up, we're going through a whole host of colours because there's a lot to cover. First of all, let's focus on the skin tone. It's good to get this done first. Gut Ripper Flesh is a colour that works really well with all types of orc. Simple, you've got the face, you've got the ears. There are straps that are in leather, so just be aware of them. You've got this hand here, there is no other hidden hand, and you can just about see it there. You've got the little hidden orc. You'll have noticed him when you're building him. Now the instructions say paint the orc first. Essentially in this section here, which you cannot access or visibly see at all once it's built, you've got the whole orc body. It's completely sculpted. It says paint it first. There's no point. If you're attaching the model completely like this, there is absolutely zero point in painting the orc when you can actually just get a small airbrush and paint him perfectly with contrast paints. Moving on from that, we're going to wait till the Gut Ripper Flesh is dry, and then for the beard, so it doesn't mix with the green, we're going to take non-oil, just let it settle into those recesses nicely to create the beard. Moving on from that one, focusing back on the star, we're going to take Casadora Yellow Shade Paint. Now, overall, when you look at the box art image, it is white. We're going to touch that up, highlight it later on, but we want to blend that Imperial Fist into the white. And actually, Casadora Yellow is going to help us here. So just paint this over the star, just as you would normally with a shade paint. Taking shade paints, we're going to take Seraphim Sepia. Yes, it's pulled slightly, but we're going to turn that to our advantage. Just cover it over the entirety of the sack, just to give it a bit more depth and definition. Moving on from that, we're going to take Skeleton Horde again, and this is going to be for the red Gobbo's teeth. Once that's done, we are taking Black Templar once again. Now this is because I've started painting up the little tree here. You will notice there's a couple of little ropes just holding the lights together. Nice and simple, just paint them on like we did with the other Christmas lights. And for the actual tree itself, the colour I've used here is Wildwood. Now it does have a richer brown than this one, but this is going to be our underlayer, giving us that darkness. We're going to enrich it in the next step, and I've also used the Wildwood on the two straps on the side of the Red Gobbo's face. And just a note, while it was probably obvious, I also used a Black Templar to base coat the grenades in the sack. Just a note, the grenades go all the way down next to the little grot. You can easily reach every single bit without catching any of the edges using a small airbrush. Next up, we'll continue with our shading and base coating. First of all, let's focus on the Red Gobbo's skin tone. Nice and simple, we're going to take Bell Tan Green. Now really do shake this well. If you don't shake it well, it's going to dry glossy. Shake it really well, it'll dry matte. Essentially, just over all that gut ripper flesh, including the little grot in the sack, just apply it all over. Moving on from that, we're going to focus on the fur cloth of the Red Gobbo. This is not the beard, we want a slightly different tone. We're going to take Soul Blight Grey. Ignore the white, that's just where it's stuck to the bottom. Give it a good shake. Wait for the Bell Tan Green to dry because we don't want to mix the colours together. Just simply apply it over the cloth. Now the one point to note, I found when applying it, you can just see there, okay as it is, obviously it's wet, shiny, it's drying, it does have a tendency to pull where my finger is. Just move it around, you've got a nice even there all around. This is for all the little fur details. Just makes it different from the beard on the we did in the Nuln Oil, and that's the important thing in painting, we want distinguished features. Moving on from that, we're gonna take Griff Charger Grey, and this is going to be a trust the process kind of thing, which obviously I've done this before, I know how it works, so do trust it. We got the smoke, nice and simple, there's nothing we need to cover for that one. We've got the little bit of rope here that's burning. I've painted it directly over the magma drop flame. You can see it darkens it down, creates that smoke effect, magma drop flame giving it that kind of heat that's going through it. We've then got the trust the process bit, and that's the green twigs. We're going to go for a Christmassy feel. I'm changing it from the box art. Trust me, this is going to work. This works really nicely to create a snow effect, which I'm then going to go over a green in the next stage. So just apply it over the twigs, over the smoke, and let that dry. Moving on from that, I talked about the warm, rich brown. We're going to go with Gore Grunter Fur. Straight over the tree, straight over the two leather straps, which we did in Wildwood. It just makes it richer and warmer. Next up, we're focusing on all of that gold bronze details. The colour I've used here that's really matching to the box art is Sycorax Bronze. This is a layer paint. It is quite translucent. You're going to need a good 2 to 3 coats, especially if you've got little bits of Bile Red, for example, here to cover it. It's very translucent. 2 to 3 coats minimum to get this solid colour. But it is thin, it is beautiful, and it really stands out against that red. Moving on, we're going to go on to the green stripes of the Dynamite. The colour I've used here is Candrass Green. Yes, it's a contrast paint. Yes, you might get a drying line. Essentially, we just want to mark out where those lines are going to be. There's only 2, one here, one starting on the other side. Just do a rough curve, use the box art as guidance. Once it's dry, we're going to take White Scar. In a sense, where we can afford to be sloppy with the green, we're going to use the White Scar to relayer and just make those lines nice and straight. This gives us a lot more control. Once that's dry, over the green lines, we're going to take Bell Tan Green. I've applied this rather heavily, but keeping it so it's not pooling just in the green lines, just really gives a nice solid foundation, and it does subtly correct any drying lines. Moving on from that, the Griff Charger Grey that we did on the tree branches, I've taken Coelia Green shade and just applied it over. Gives a nice Christmassy green feel to it. And moving on from that, I've taken Soul Blight Grey once more and I've applied this over the smoke, as you can see here and here, just to give it that bit more depth. Next up, we're base coating all of our remaining details, and the colour we're using here is Lead Belcher. Now, just to point out, we're obviously not going to do the white areas, so that's going to include both shoulder pads. So you've got the white skull here, you've got the number 25 here. We're keeping that in White Scar, but every other remaining detail has been base coated in Lead Belcher. It's that perfect mid-tone of silver where it's not too dark, it's not too bright. It's the Goldilocks principle, it's just right. So take your time, get that done, just being careful. Certainly around this area, around the hat, you can get a small airbrush in. You just don't want to wipe the paint onto the red or onto the Seraphim Sepia surfaces. If you do, just quickly dry the brush, wash it, and while it's damp, just remove that paint and carry on as normal. One little point to note, we are going back to Black Templar. And nice and simply, what I've seen here, you've got one little ribbon, it's just on the little ball on top of the hat. Just that bit of rope, paint that in. The next paint we are using that's slightly different is Black Legion, and I'm using this as a subtle shade, if you like. Now essentially, when we're doing the highlighting grenades and all those squares is going to be an absolute pain. There is a way we can cheat. We can avoid the edge highlights by using the Black Templar that's already in place. Simply in the middle of each square, take the Black Legion, apply a small dot in the center, and the Black Templar that's already pulled away from the outside becomes the automatic edge highlight. It's a really great way of avoiding highlights but still having that heavy metal finish. If you've seen my Drakari videos, you know exactly how I've done it and what I mean. If you haven't seen those type of videos, go and check them out. It's a really good way of contrast painting. Next up, we're going to shade those metallic details. We want to go for a rusted tin robot look. That's what the heavy metal team have done. And I'm going to do this over all the bronze details and all the silver of the actual tin robot. The colour I'm using here is Gorgrunter Fur. We cannot use this in its purest form. Otherwise, it's not going to alter the colour. It's just going to change it completely and really make it just look horrible. We're going to fit it down in a roughly 1-to-1 mix with Lamy Medium, or, if you want, 1 to 2 parts of Lamy Medium. I've just gone roughly between 1 to 2. Essentially, he's going to turn it into a shade / glaze. Just put it over all of those details, and as you can see, it gives it this really sort of old, authentic, rustic tin robot kind of look. Proper orky. Now, we are going to use Nuln Oil as well. This is just over some separate details. This is going to be for the silver details around the face of the red Gobbo. I've done it on his teeth, just to darken into those recesses. You've got the little holders for the baubles. And then for the actual, obviously you've got the silver pins for the grenades, but for the actual grenades itself, I've put it straight over that. It just helps to darken the recesses that are naturally there, and makes the Black Legion we've done just previously pop out even more, finishing the grenades off entirely. Get that done and your model is officially battle ready. You could take this straight to a Games Workshop store right now, in this state, and they would absolutely give you the stamp to say, yep, you've painted the festive model, works wonders towards that dice tower. But we're not leaving it there. Let's push it further and show what we could do if you're going to enter it, say, for a festive competition. First highlight we're doing is going to be Stormhost Silver, and this is going to be over all of our metallic red, all over our bronze and gold kind of style details, and all of our silver details in one go. Now, there are 2 ways we're going to apply this. Firstly, by hand. So things on the actual main armour, like all these indentations that we just want to pick out with silver, kind of in a sort of scratch style circle way, as well as all the rivets, we're going to do by hand. Same for the baubles and stuff down here, we're doing by hand. The rest of it, most of it, can be done by a cheeky small dry brush. So take the smallest dry brush, I use the Citadel ones, and just very gently catch all the edges, picking out the Stormhost Silver. Means we've got nice crisp edge highlights all over. Gives it that nice metallic shine. I'm going to take it further by adding a small bit of gloss varnish. That's what I want to do personally, but if you don't want that, then at this stage all the armor is done. Next up, it's time to finish off all of our white details. Now, to start with, we're going to go with Soulblight Grey. Now, I've just done a very careful recess shade just in the areas of this skull marking here, this sort of orky Aquila, so to speak. Now, the actual eyes I did in the Gorgrunter Fur mix that we did to shade the actual metallics, but we just want the Soulblight Grey into the wing kind of recesses. Moving on from that, we're going to take White Scar, and we're applying this in 2 ways, just like we did with the Stormhost Silver, by hand, by dry brush. So let's talk about by hand first. You've got the snow on the boot, you've got the strands of hair on the beard, you obviously got the little areas on the shoulder pads you might need to relayer. You've got the edges on the dynamite that are in white, and then obviously you've got the star on the tree, which I've just really sort of relayered the main section in white and just gone around the edge like that. But we can also take a small dry brush, and being very super careful, obviously we're going to dry brush the base, but you can just very carefully just dry brush little areas of the soft sort of white fur, especially the ball on the helmet. And at the same time, I've used a dry brush for this top part with the white scar, just to highlight the edges of this helmet here. Nice and simple. Do that, we'll move on to the next stage. Next up, we're going to focus on edge highlighting around the red Gobbo as well as the dynamite itself. So let's start with the red Gobbo. Starting with skin tone, there's not a lot to do here. The colour I'm using here is iron rack skin, and I'm treating this as spot highlights. So spot highlights, things like the nose. Obviously you've got the bits of the ears, the knuckles of this hand. But what I have done is I've just gone around the outline of his lips. Nice and simple. You can just about apply a spot highlight too on the nose of the grot, just there. Moving on from that, we're taking Moot Green. This is going to be our last remaining green colour to do. I've just done a very careful, it's very subtle, edge highlight on the green stripes of the dynamite. It is very subtle. Moving on from that, I am taking Wild Rider Red, and this is going to be an edge highlight on the red cloth of the red Gobbo's clothes. Nice and simple, there's not really much to explain there, but for those of you brave enough, which I have done, you have, and you can just about see it in the corner there, the eye of the little grot himself. Now, for even braver people, you've got the second eye. It's a bit hard to see in this camera. I have just caught it, but you can do that eye particular. That's the one you can really see. The other one you just can sort of see at the most rarest angles, but it's so dark in there, the camera can't even pick it up. Moving on from that, we're taking Pink Horror next, and this is going to be an edge highlight for the little ribbon around our little Christmas boom boom stick. And lastly, for the red Gobbo himself, we're taking Screaming Skull, and I've just picked out the teeth. Next up, we're focusing on the sack and the details around there. To begin with, we're taking Pallid Witch Flesh, and we're doing two different things. Firstly, traditional edge highlighting of the sack itself, and then what you can do, just some little subtle extra scratches, just to add little detail. Do as little or as many as you want. Again, I'd recommend using the box art as reference, just to give you an idea of what the Heavy Metal team have done. Moving on from that, let's focus on the wood of the tree, and this also applies to the little brown leather bits that are on the side of the red Gobbo's face. The colour here is Scrag Brown, just traditional edge highlighting. Just catch the most prominent edges on the wood, the two edges, one on each side of the leather here. And then lastly, we've got the little green tree. Now what I've done here is just little tiny spot highlights of Ghost Blaster green. It's quite bright, it's quite vivid. The smaller the spot, the better it will look. Just take your time, just have a little tip on a small airbrush and just dot those on. Our final paint is going to be hard coat or gloss varnish. You know, it doesn't have to be hard coat, but it's whichever gloss varnish you want, and you're going to apply this in whatever areas you want to. Now, I talked about the armor here. It's hard to show on the camera, but when you look at it in person, obviously I can only see this, there's a lot of metallic flakes shining through. I don't need to apply it there. What I have applied is things like the baubles, the lights, the decorations, the eyes on here. They've got the big lens, the eyes on the Gobbo. I've done it on the star on the hat, and I've also applied it on the star up here. Now, you've got to imagine this is glowing yellow, it's bright. By applying gloss varnish, it means natural light just reflects off the surface. Makes sense, it just makes it really bright, and certain features stand out a little bit more. It's personal choice, it's up to you. That's what I've gone with, but you don't have to if you don't want to. The only thing left to do is the rim of the base. I'm leaving mine white because it's going to go on a Christmas diorama, something you can check out on my Instagram. But it's your choice of what colour you want to, because at this point, the model is complete. And there we have it. The 2025 Red Gobbo Festive model is complete. Now, whether you're festive or not, it's just a great model with an exceptional amount of detail and a whole lot of potential. And it really is great, especially if you've got a local Games Workshop store, to enter it, just get those stamps and get that Dice Tower achievement ticked off. Now, if you've also got a local festive competition, then naturally this is a wonderful model just to enter it. But of course, I can't guarantee that copying this video in its entirety would mean an automatic win. I would love to say that, I just can't guarantee it for obvious reasons. But it would absolutely put you in great stead. Now naturally, if this video has helped inspire you to get your Red Gobbo done, then give this video a like. Please do share it as well, because it's not about fame, it just helps this free tutorial inspire others who are looking for guidance and haven't found my channel. And please do subscribe, because simply doing that free action supports me, and in return I get to continue supporting you, the awesome Warhammer community. So until the next time, do look after yourselves and happy hobbying.